Sometimes I can't face up to the facts. Hello, this is part 3 of restoration of a Skau jazz guitar built in Norway. So I went back to the place where I bought it, which is my local music shop. Great place, really. It's a vinyl place that sells second-hand vinyl. That's its main business. And I spoke to Thomas and I said, this guitar is ugly, but I don't know what to do with the finish. I'm not wanting to destroy history by stripping it all off and starting again. And he said, what do you mean by ugly? He said, if you and I look in the mirror, you can tell that we've been around for a few years. You can really tell. But that doesn't make us ugly. And I think he has a point. So I'm going to stop worrying about the finish of the Skau guitar and start to look at an issue which it has, which is too much relief, too much bow in the neck. Not a lot, about 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters too much. And so I'm going to use heat and some pressure to try and correct that. Using a heat lamp to apply some bending force to the neck, supporting it in the area where the most relief was measured in the first video. So I've had the guitar heating under this heat lamp now for about 1.5 hours. What I'm going to do is measure the temperature as best I can with this digital thermometer. I think it's really a meat thermometer, but at least it'll give me some sort of indication. Should I zoom in a little bit? Yeah. Okay. Outside is -15. The idea of this is partly to soften the glue which holds together the fretboard and the neck, those two surfaces, and also the fibres, to let the fibres of the wood to some extent become more flexible, and the force applied downwards at each end of the neck, this end, hopefully will give it a slight bend. Okay, 46. It's rising much more slowly now, the digits on this thermometer. That's degrees centigrade, by the way. 48 now. Coming up to 50 degrees. Sorry about the background noise. We've got my fan heater in this room and the neighbour's washing machine thrashing away in the distance. This has been heating up very slowly, as I say, 1.5 hours, so the warmth has spread through the wood. It's pretty warm underneath, and you can feel that it's warmed down to about the 12th fret, 12th or 13th fret at this end. And I can feel warmth up to fret 3, 2 or 3 at this end. Okay, we're now on 52.5. It's a bit warmer than I thought, which is great. $53. Okay, pretty happy with that. I'm going to leave it actually there are two things I can do if this is done, as this hasn't changed the configuration of the neck. I can apply a lot more force downwards and I can leave it for much longer. So this is what's the time now? It's 12. Yeah, this is 1 3/4 hours. I'm going to stop it at this point, let it cool down, measure it and get back to you. So the guitar has had several hours to cool back to room temperature, and so I'm now going to take away all the bits and remeasure the straightness of the neck. Use the straight edge and feeler gauges again. There's the 1mm feeler gauge, let's see. Looks like there's been a bit of movement at least, so let me find 0.05, 0.35, here we go, 1/2 millimetre. Yes, there's still 9th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret, 6th, there's 1/2 millimetre. And it tightens up here at the 12th. That's a tiny amount of movement, but not enough. So as I say, I'm going to have to repeat this operation. Longer heat and more pressure. Meantime, return to looking at the bridge. As you can see, it's a hell of a mess. It's very light wood. I'm not sure what it is. It's pale. It could just be a piece of birch, I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with the base. The base is great, but the top part has bits broken off and is generally pretty uneven. So I can raise it a lot, I can raise it several millimeters. So I could in fact reshape this, the top of the bridge. Maybe I will do that. Second go at pressing the neck, but I'll use the same. So it's more force because I'm using screw clamps, but I'll use the same heat lamp. So here we go. It's really easy to measure the temperature which I'm taking the neck to. What's not so easy is to judge how much force I'm applying with these G cramps or sash cramps. I just have to judge it by how much force I use to turn the screws. So we just have to try it. So what I plan to do here is let it get really warm before applying much force to the clamps. and listen carefully, because there may be some faint noises as I put on a lot of pressure. So I can tell using this shorter straight edge that I've actually pulled it out of a straight line and put a back bow in. Very little, fractions of a millimetre. So we'll leave it at that, and I'm going to go away for a couple of hours and see what happens. In the meantime, measuring the strings. The bass E string was 38 and the high E is 9. So it's a very light gauge set of strings that was on. So I've taken the old bridge and I've shaved it down in a curve, a slight curve, because that's the way the strings will be in a profile. And all I've left is one notch, which was deeper than all the rest, and that's going to be the bass E string. I think this is good enough to string it up, and if it needs any more slight adjustments, I can quickly take it off and do a bit more sanding down. Okay, there we go. So this has had about 3 hours now, and I'm going to switch off the heat source and let it cool down, probably for another hour. So now it's time to take off the clamps and measure whether we've done some good. The answer is hardly anything. So it's gone from half a millimetre to 0.35 of a millimetre. So, but I'm going to string it back up and see how it plays. I'm not sure I'm prepared to give it any stronger heat or any more downward pressure on clamps. I'm not sure. We'll string it up now. I'm disappointed. Because my efforts with the heat lamp and the clamps have yielded very little improvement, actually. The string height is now about 3 millimeters above the frets on the bass side, about 2.5 on the treble side. That's not so terrible. It's the bend in the neck that's still too much relief. When you press down the string, there's probably, I don't know, 0.7, 0.8 of a millimeter. It's too much. It's got a good sound. So now I have to decide what to do. One thing is that in some ways it could do with a refret, and if I refretted it with frets with thicker tangs, that will force the neck into a little bit more of a back bow. That would help. It would also it would also lower the height of the strings above the fret tops. I've also got one high fret. Having said that, it is actually playable. So, yeah, there we go. It is what it is. I may do some more work on this, but for now I'm going to just leave it and use it a bit. Thanks for watching.